Hey, what up, my comic book peeps? It's your boy J-Rocks. Today we're coming at you. We're gonna be hitting you with another chat about a graphic novel chat. We'll be reviewing LumberJane's Volume 1. This covers issues 1 through 4, written by Noel Stevenson, or is it Joel Stevenson? I think it's Joel Stevenson.
Grace Ellis and Noel Stevenson are the creators.
Okay, and she does the art as well, the art and the writing. And I got my guest here today. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Go for it, Tom.
Tom?
Man, Wonky Ninja Man, Tom. Glad to be here, man. Really enjoy this book. It's one of my favorite books that I've read in like the last 5 years I've been reading. So yeah,
how about
really
you?
happy to talk about it.
Okay, I'm gonna put I have their YouTube channel and their Twitter on the description below in case you guys want to follow them. Click on the description below and click on the links. They'll be provided to you on the bottom of the video.
Cool. You can find me at 1904 Comics or 1904_Comics on Twitter. Same thing on YouTube. Check me out.
And me, you can find my I have a Twitter and I have a Twitch. Once in a while I do live streams of video games. I'll have the link down below on both of those as well. Okay, which one do you want to start on? What you thought about the book?
Tom, you really wanted to do this book. I say you started off.
What I like best about this book, I like everything about this. I like that there's female empowerment going through this book. The way that you don't really have any males in this book.
Mm-hmm.
I just like all the characters. I like the art style by Noel Stevenson. I think that Grace Ellis's writing is really funny. I mean, you can't read this book and not think that it's funny. I can't believe that. But if you like a break in your comics, I just think that this is a great book to give a break in your comics.
I thought the characters were entertaining. They were, it's definitely like for younger readers. Thought it was like kid friendly. The writing, it's cool. I like the dialogue, but the humor it has, I thought it was more funnier like the art itself. Like when I'm reading the dialogue, it wasn't really as funny. Then when I see the facial expressions they draw and stuff, you kind of
I think that's part of being a co-creator. That Grace Ellis and Noel Stevenson are doing this together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're probably putting together, a combo of that. I'm gonna say this, so give the character that facial expression.
Yeah, I thought the facial expressions on this were real good. It set the tone for what was going on in the dialogue. I think without the art and without those facial expressions, a lot of the humor here, it would have missed me. I would have been like, nah, this is not funny. I don't get it. But when I'm reading it, then I see the faces they make as they're saying it. It meshed really well. That really that was really the strong point in the book for me was that got me laughing and stuff. Sometimes was the characters' reactions to what they were saying. Like when they were saying stuff, the reactions to the dialogue, to the conversation.
I just like that they were in corny situations, like when they're going on the canoe, and the girl lists all of the bad things, that could happen on the canoe. They could be attacked by sharks, or whatever. And I mean, that's hilarious to me, man. That she had unsubstantiated fears of things that could happen to her, and no matter how much they tried to explain to her, that could happen, piranha or, whatever was going to attack them.
Yeah, I agree. The art was real good. There was some stuff in the story, art-wise, in the storytelling where I thought it was like a miss, like missed opportunities in the way they're explaining what's happening. Because when they're chatting with each other and cracking jokes, thought it was really good at explaining and doing the facial expressions. But when there's something actually happening, I thought they didn't do as good a job. Like there's a part where a kid steps on a booby trap, right?
Yeah.
And they're just going all along, going, oh, oh, and right there's a moment where they should all have all these weird, crazy expressions, like, oh, oh, he stepped on a booby trap, right? And they didn't have that. And then I thought there should be a panel there, because you don't know why they're saying, oh, oh, there should be a panel where it just zooms in on the foot stepping on the booby trap, which there was no panel like that. I thought they should have shown that, and then their facial expressions, like, oh, and it didn't have that. It just had a mouse standing there saying, oh, oh. Like stuff like that. There was a few other instances that they can't immediately come to my head, but there was a few moments like that where I'm like the art could have done something different here to
But I mean, I think on the
what was
flip side of
happening.
that, if you look at like times that, man, what's that chick's name? The little Asian chick. When she's all like freaking out and like explaining things, I think like her facial expressions are kind of over exaggerated to what it is that she's trying to explain.
I kind of like that. Though. I found it funny. Like I found it entertaining.
I mean, I think that it moves along really well.
Yeah, the picture.
You know, when you start reading it,
This is something you could just read in single issues for sure. Like I would actually recommend, and I would rather read this in single issues because each issue is just kind of its own thing.
that's true.
Yeah.
You could just start on any number and you'll be fine. What you think, Mike?
But this, I don't know. It was cool. I really liked it. At first, I went into it like I wasn't sure, you know. I heard some cool things about it, but but it grew on me. At the first issue, I didn't like as much. After the second and third issue, it grew on me. The art was cool, made me laugh, had its funny moments. There was some moments that were kind of whatever, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh. That's the biggest thing, and yeah, I got no complaints. I'll continue reading it.
I like trades too, man. That when you get to the end of a trade, that you feel like you want to read the next trade, and that's kind of how I felt with, kind of how I feel with this, was that it's kind of a constantly building story, and when you get to the end of the trade, you're just kind of like, oh man, I want like another issue.
I didn't.
There's not a lot of comics out there, man, that when I read the trade, like I'm thinking, man, I really want the next issue on this.
I didn't. I didn't think. What were you saying about the story? That it's really like it keeps the story going or growing or something? I thought they were all just their own separate story. I didn't think they really connected as much together. Like each one was its own thing. I think this is something I would have definitely like enjoyed more in like a cartoon as opposed to.
Dude, I would love a LumberJane's cartoon. That sounds
that'd
awesome,
be
man.
yeah.
Somebody out there, man, get on that. That sounds
Yeah, this type of comedy and the way the characters react to situations and stuff, I think it would be a lot funnier and it would hit a lot better in a cartoon.
It kind of reminded me of like a Goonies.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, is kind of like a Goonies type of story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the adventure and just everything that's going on, and you just got these people that are unequipped to deal with that adventure.
Yeah, you got the adventure, you got the little bit of comedy in there.
About this book, is that
Yeah, it's definitely like how you said, it's a lot of adventure and it's basically like a Girl Scouts, but they're all like they don't follow the rules and they go mess around and get themselves in little predicaments or adventures, how you said.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like one thing I found interesting. You find them fighting with wolves and turtles and stuff that have like 3 eyeballs, and I was like, why do all these creatures have 3 eyeballs? And I thought it was like their imagination because they're little kids. I was like, so there's their imagination, then they snap in back and forth from imagination to the real world. And in the end, spoilers for those of you that haven't read it, it's not a big deal, not a big spoiler, but I wasn't sure. It wasn't really clear if this was their imagination or this was for reals. And at the end, it kind of hints, it kind of lets you know that this stuff's really happening. That really something weird's happening here, where the animals are contaminated and they're all like mutated and stuff. It's not their imagination, which I thought that was a really good ending to me. I was like, wow, so this isn't the kid's imagination. This is some shit that's really going down.
I mean, I thought it was a good mystery with like the the overseer of the camp or whatever.
Mhm.
Right.
Just kind of, disciplining them, but at the same time not, because, yeah, I mean, we were kind of led throughout the entire story to kind of believe, like, maybe this is happening or maybe it's not. And I thought that character did a really good job of kind of, keeping that mystery going for me.
Yeah, I thought it was but to me it was like it was a satisfying ending to the trade. I was like, wow, like it's kind of a big reveal in my opinion. I was like, oh, like,
Hmm.
but the tone of it has kind of like more like I don't think it's really for my age group type thing. Like I enjoyed it for what it is. If I compare it to other little kid books like this and stuff, it's right up there with them. But I don't think this is not something that I would follow. Like that, I'll be like, oh, I need the next volume.
Yeah, no, I read it. I got them in digital. The first thing, like 15 trades or 15 singles. I bought them a while back. I just never read them.
I'm just glad you guys read a book, man, that honestly I didn't think that you would want to read.
I'm
I
always
read I
open
read
to.
everything, dude.
Yeah, I'll say I'm always open to read whatever you guys want to read, and then just judge after I read it. How, because I can't judge it till I read it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just figure after we read LumberJane's, man, that really, honestly, now you can throw anything at me, and I'll read it and you know, give an honest review of it because I understand that this is like I say, man, like I think the buying audience for this book is like females like 12 through 22, and so yeah, not exactly the book that I would think that we would read,
yeah, it's
but
definitely not aimed towards like us. Like it's
I don't think it was intended for us.
yeah, exactly. Like I would even not say it's not just intended for girls, but it's for any kids of like 8 to 15 or
Yeah, it's a
around
good
that
kid
age
book.
group. Yeah, yeah, it's for a younger audience, a boy or girl. It can be entertaining for either. Even though it's a group of girls, it's never anything there to tell you it's a bunch of girls. You could look at it and think it's a bunch of boys because the way the
Yeah, they
art is.
do have
But let me
that guy
just
camp though. I wonder
just
if
think that
later
the
on.
thing that I LumberJane. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The guy camp. I don't know if you read more of it, but I wonder if that plays a bigger part later on in the later issues.
What's that?
Yeah, that was
Remember
interesting.
they meet all those guys, the like Boy Scout group.
Yeah, it does play. It does play into it. It does play into it later on.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was definitely if you tell me between the 4 issues, the number 4 was the strongest one for sure.
Yeah.
You think number 4 is the strongest one? I think number 3 is the strongest one.
3 was
That's the one
entertaining,
where
but I
they're in.
thought
That's
story-wise,
the one
number
with
4 revealed a
the
lot of stuff.
Sasquatches, right?
Yeah, I agree. Four had it was more
It set up a lot
story,
of things.
and 2 and 3 are more entertaining, more funny, and jokes and stuff like that.
I really like whenever they've all got poison ivy and
Yeah,
they're
that was on
going.
issue 4.
Is that issue 4?
Yeah. Then also
Well, okay, then I agree with you. I thought that was issue 3. But yeah, I really like that whole them going to the boys' camp and the Sasquatches.
yeah, the Sasquatches were cool, and it kind of
Yeah.
it's opening some questions like why are they guarding this place, the Sasquatches, and what's the boys' secrets? Like why are they so perfect? Something's wrong with them, and then the camp counselor points out that hey, the stuff that's happening is not in their imagination. It's like a lot of stuff happens in the 4th issue. I thought it was like a real important.
Yeah, I didn't realize
I
because
like
there's all
that
these
cave
cover
they found.
issues
That
in
was pretty cool.
all these cover issues in the back of the book. I didn't realize that was the end of the book.
Yeah,
But
if I had just read the first 3 issues and not read issue 4, I might have walked away with a different feeling, and I thought issue 4 were really got going for me. Were really got a lot of shit going where it caught my attention.
Now, for me, as long as it's entertaining, I'll read it. It could be a taller book for a 2-year-old kid, and if it makes them laugh, like, oh, give me another one. I don't care.
yeah, Yeah, I mean, I read a lot of like serious comics, man. I like comics like LumberJane's that I can read in the midst of that, like LumberJane's or Nutmeg, or other books that I read, Gotham Academy, that I can read in the middle of that, that are kind of like a funny, like more lighthearted thing, uh, as far as like reading it in singles. And that's the thing I like about Lumberjanes is that I can read like 4 or 5, like dark, serious comics, and then read Lumberjanes, and like it cleanses my palate to whatever it is I'm going to read on the other side of that.
Yeah.
I thought
That's
that's
what I
what
really
Harley
like
Quinn
about this
was.
book.
I thought that's how Harley Quinn was. That it's a book that is not as serious and it has some comedy in there, so it could kind of get you away from that serious Batman and like Daredevil type of stuff, like a change of pace, if you will.
Yeah.
Did you get all these cover images
Yeah.
back of your trade? I love these cover images, man. That freaking Kate Leaf balloon cover. I've got to freaking look that up. I need to have that cover.
Yeah, I really enjoy the art. The colors are pretty good too.
I mean, that's what I think's funny about these cover arts in the back is that there's certain people like Stephanie Bluckham that I really think her art would have been just as good, in this situation. I mean, the whole reason I started reading this is because of the fact that I read Nimona and really, really enjoyed Nimona. So I was like, man, I need to go and check out other Nicole Stevenson.
I
And,
gotta read I gotta check
you
that
know,
one out, Ramon. I think that would be more of my thing because it's like fantasy and knights and dragons, and that's more of a story I would be more interested in
well, I
than.
mean, it's basically the same story, though. I mean, Nimona is about like a little kid
Mhm.
that is kind of thrown into a situation. And, I mean, it's real adventure, but something that was in Nimona that I thought was interesting in Lumberjanes is that based on the fact that Noel Stevenson is a lesbian, I thought that there were gay like undertones
Mhm.
to what was going on in this book, also in Nimona,
Hmm.
that the relationships between these people, I kind of felt like they were a little skewed based upon that, like the way that it was written. I don't know.
So you think there was on this book like those type of little hidden messages in there?
Yeah, yeah, I really
You know,
do. I
like
think that
subliminal
there, I think
messages
that
and
I think that there are messages in Lumberjanes and in Nimona that
hmm.
especially in Lumberjanes,
You think?
because both of the creative team on this book are both lesbians,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like that because they're all females and the way that they're independent from men, uh, that it kind of has a. I'm reading it from that perspective, I guess. That I definitely see some underlying things that are going on in this book.
Hmm. I wasn't looking for anything like that, so I don't even know if it is there or not. But if it is, you think this is the type of book they should be sending those type of like, because this is more like of a kid book.
That's
Shouldn't they be
that's kind of my
covering that
thing,
type
though,
of stuff
man.
in a
Is
more
that, and
mature?
that's what I said whenever I was talking to a friend of mine about it, was that I kind of felt as though there was this "we don't need men" vibe that was going on throughout this book. And is that something that, if your target audience, say, like you're saying, your target audience is like 8 to 14-year-olds, is that necessarily? I don't know. I mean, I think maybe I'm just old, and kids now are more exposed to that type of thing than I was at that age.
Well, it's definitely more
So
normal now, but
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know. I don't know, Tom. I think
normalized.
I didn't really see. I saw, yeah, it's a group of girls, whatever, hanging out, but I didn't really see any of that that like, oh, one has feelings for another one or something like that. I didn't.
There was a kind of one part that kind of made me not necessarily the whole book was like that, but that one part where they had to give mouth to mouth because the girl was drowning.
Yeah, and she's all kind of
They gotta
like,
give her smooches, this and that.
yeah, right?
Yeah, I do. I remember that part.
That's like the
I
only
would have.
part that kind of made me think
Yeah,
anything.
I think I'm looking at it too. Like I say, I'm looking at it from an overview of the, the writers in general,
Right.
and
Yeah,
so
because there was also that part where that blonde girl was all like upset over doing something that hurting the other girl's feelings or something. What did she do? That tall one? She
I don't
kept saying,
remember.
"Oh, I feel so bad for you. I'm sorry I did this," and like she kept bringing it up when the other girl was already over it.
Oh, okay, I can't remember. I forgot what it was, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. I would have to go back and read it and actively like look at it that way to see if what you're talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't really
well,
like
by all
looking at
means,
it.
man, by all means, read this book again.
All right. Anything else
I'm
you
not,
want to say
like I
about it,
said,
or
I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, man. I mean,
no? That's not a bad thing. I'm
I
just
really
saying.
enjoy this. I really enjoyed this book, and if that was worked into the book, I think it was really done in an intelligent way. You know.
I don't know. The book itself was an alright read. I didn't really see this book as a book that's really sending any type of message out there. As far as I saw it more as just a kid friendly, like a, a, a book with comedy, or like a more of a cartoon type of thing, where it's
Mhm.
not really sending any message out there. It's just there for entertainment. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I didn't really like.
But do you feel more? Do you feel that way more because of the art,
No,
or
just the story itself. It didn't.
the overall book? Was it that
Just the
the art
overall
was
story
so?
and yeah, the writing, everything felt more like it's just there for laughs and giggles. Like I didn't see any heavy material there, like that they were trying to.
I just wonder if you did this book with a different artist,
Nah,
whether
but still with with the
it
writing.
would be an entirely different book.
Nah, if you had well, in my opinion, if you had a different artist, but you still had the same dialogue and same writing, it will still come off as the same to me.
Yeah, it would.
Because
I
the
agree with
dialogue was
you.
very kiddie too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, if the art was totally different, like you had Greg Capullo doing it or whatever, it would still be.
Dude, I would love to see Greg Capullo's LumberJane's, man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Lee
Getting
or
somebody get
something,
on.
it would still come off kiddish.
Yeah.
It would look
um,
badass, but still kiddish.
you guys want to know? The girls will definitely look different.
Hey, it
Um,
was a quick
And
read too. That
I'm
was
all for
cool.
Scott Campbell's LumberJane's, dude.
Who?
that would actually probably fit.
J. Scott
Um,
Campbell, dude. He could do
Oh yeah.
LumberJane's, they'd just be popping out of their outfits.
you guys ready to give the scores or anything now? Anything else you want to say about the book?
It was a
No,
quick read, so if you're interested in it, you gotta worry about it, taking forever to read. So that was cool too.
Yeah, it is a really, really quick read.
Hey, you guys got your scorecards? Scorecards
Yeah,
ready, guys?
I want to see Tom's score.
You want to see my scorecard?
Yep.
Man, dude, I got to go 9.5, dude. I
9.5
freaking
for
love this
Tom.
book. I love the art. I love the art. I can't score it a 10 because I believe there's got to be something out there that's better. But I love the art. I love the story. I love the camaraderie between the characters and everything going on in the book, man, and just the whole like female empowerment thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really love this book. And I mean, it's like the fourth time I've read it, and I still, don't have any problem. I would read it again tomorrow,
Right.
What you give it, Mike?
Okay. I gave it a boom.
An 8.
8. If I had a physical copy, like an actual trade, and not in digital, I probably would have gave maybe an 8.5 because physical is always better. But for what it was, I came at it with just it's gonna be a cool, funny book. I didn't try to look at it any other way, and I enjoyed it. It made me laugh.
Yeah, that's how this is not really like something I would normally read. It's not my, like, if I saw it, it's not something I would say, oh, this is what I want to pick up. But I went at it thinking the same thing. I said, well, after I read it, let me compare it to like Cat in the Hat or Captain Underpants, like kid-friendly books. Let me compare it to those books and how good is it compared to those, right? And I thought it was funny. It was an okay story. But what it was, what I really enjoyed was that last issue. I like the ending and how it explained a lot of things, and it also set up a lot of new questions that piqued my interest. I found it really good as far as that issue. So I don't have a lot of exposure to reading a lot of this type of stuff, so I didn't really know how to score it. I was like, well, how would I score this? I have to compare to stuff like this, and I don't read a lot of this. So I gave it, at the end of the day, I went with this. Can you see? I gave it a 7.5.
Well, was that a 10? I see a 10 right there. Scratched out.
It was a 7, and I scratched it out for 7.5.
10 to the side. Really wanted to give it a 10, man. So I wanted to think that I love this book.
Yeah, no, it's a 7.0. It was a 7.0, then I crashed it off and put a 7.5. I did this earlier today, but I changed it. I was like, it's pretty good. It was good for what it was, but it wasn't something that I would be eager to you know what, I gotta get volume 2. Like, I want to see where this goes. Like, I never felt that way when I finished it.
I'm just impressed that we got such high scores, considering that I really honestly didn't think that. I mean, this is not something you guys would read. And I mean, like I said, we're not the target audience for this book.
Yeah, if I give it to my 8-year-old nephew.
I imagine if you
I think he will be cracking up.
Yeah, a 10-year-old would freaking love this book.
Yeah, I
if
think
you were
would love
to your kids, or if you read comics and you got kids and you want something for your kids to read, man, freaking LumberJane's is freaking awesome. I mean, it's a clean book. It's funny. I mean, it's just talking about kid stuff.
Yeah, exactly, some kid stuff, little predicaments, how kids act, and they get themselves into, don't go outside at night. They do it anyways, and it covers a lot of that type of stuff, which is, little kids can relate to, like, oh, I'm not supposed to go out, and they do it. Then they send little messages like, see, there's monsters and stuff in the dark, don't go out at that night, and stuff like that. It was alright. It was cool.
Just depends how you go at it. If you want something serious.
None of these girls got any cell phones, though, dude.
I'm surprised they didn't pop out with cell phones.
But if you try to go at it,
hey, ain't nobody got no cell phones, dude. They could have communicated the whole on the Sasquatches if they would have just had a freaking cell phone, dude.
Oh, that was a cool part too. That was pretty funny.
Like, let's just bars in the front door.
Cookies, and they're bumping Walkman and stuff like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, one thing I wanted to say today, I saw somebody bring it up on YouTube, and they made a real strong point. I was kind of thinking something similar. I was like, wow, it's like he read my mind, was talking about, there was this artist, Darwin Cook. I'm not really that familiar with him. I don't have a long time in comics. But, he just recently passed away, and people all over social media are talking about him. That, oh, he was my favorite artist, whatever, and that's cool. And somebody brought this up on their video, and I thought this was a cool message, and I want to just basically repeat his words. He was saying, if you have a favorite artist or favorite writer, don't be embarrassed or afraid that people are gonna be like, oh, you're on his jock, you're always posting stuff of his, whatever. Like, don't worry about that. Like, if you like an artist always constantly, and you always wanna constantly be posting pictures of his on social media or whatever, or praising them, go right ahead, let people know you're a fan. Because he was talking about this, and I thought he made a good point. It's like, yeah, a lot of people, it turns out there was a lot of fans of his, and you would never know because they never brought him up until after. So it's like, show these artists that you like them and that you're a fan while they're still around, so they know they're appreciated while they're still here, before it's too late. That's just a little message I wanted to say out there to everybody. Any shout-outs or any messages, anything you want to say to the audience out there? You guys?
Yeah, even though sometimes, like, with the Prince thing, or even Darwin Cook, just because people come out of nowhere, you know. Oh, I'm a fan. It's like, you were since when? You're a fan just because you heard he died and everyone else is posting, you know, the rest in peace things, or because you're really a fan, or you just, you know, being a poser, basically. You get some of those too, you know what I mean? I have my nephew, he's like 18, Prince died, like, trying to play Prince music. I'm like, just when? Turn that off, you know? So yeah, you get that too, out of nowhere.
What about you, Tom?
Well, I mean, I was more personally affected by the fact that David Bowie died than I
Mhm.
was by the fact that Prince died. And it kind of insulted me, being a David Bowie fan, that David Bowie got like 1 day of airplay, and Prince has been on the frickin' TV for like the last 3 weeks. You know,
Well, in
David
Prince's
Bowie had
defense,
a 30-year career, man, where
yeah,
he
well,
constantly transformed himself and made awesome music, you know.
well, I think I like some of Prince music. I'm not the biggest Prince fan, but I grew up. I was a child of the '80s, but I was a kid of the '90s. You know, I was like a teenager and stuff in the late '90s. So you know how your important years where you really start choosing your own clothes, your own music. It's in the '90s, but in the '80s, my parents, you know, they listened to Michael Jackson, Prince, Keith Sweat, all that stuff. And I remember Michael Jackson was big. He was like the biggest ever. But
Yeah,
Prince was pretty
yeah,
big too. Prince
he
was
was.
like real popular. So I think anytime artists die, the one that was more famous is gonna get more attention. And I feel like Prince was like on a higher level than David Bowie. But I could be
You
wrong. Maybe it's just
Prince is
what
a
I was
higher level
exposed
than
to.
David Bowie. I don't, man, I don't know. I'm sure you're right, because otherwise, I just think it's because of the fact that Prince is an American and David Bowie is English, and so we cover an American person dying more than we cover more than we cover an English person dying.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
yeah.
I think they both had, you know, tremendous influences on, you know, music in general, but
Yeah, Prince had a big influence, I think, but like I said, I wasn't like wouldn't be able to name 10 songs of his. I could name maybe two or three.
well, I just want it known, man, that when Bernie Wrightson dies, that I want it noted right now, man, that I'm a huge freaking Bernie Wrightson fan, and whenever he dies, I don't want anybody giving me shit over the fact that I am posting a video freaking crying about Bernie Wrightson, man, because he's freaking awesome, and has created and done art on stuff that I freaking love, and yeah.
That's where I was gonna go with this. I brought that up. That's what I wanted to ask you guys. What writer or artist or music, whatever, do you really like enjoy that you would say like, oh, like that was like my hero growing up, or that's an artist I wanted to be like, or a singer or whatever? That's what I was gonna ask you guys. Do you consider yourself a big fan of?
Damn. Never really had like a hero entertainer. I could care less, you know. For me, it was always like, you play good music that I like, but I don't care about you that much, you know.
Right,
For
right.
me, I never looked at like movies. Like, I went to Disneyland for Mother's Day. We ran to, there was like two or three movie stars there. I mean, what's the name from Dodgeball? The tall dude.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Brian
Vince Vaughn.
Vaughn, Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Yeah, he was there. I was standing right next to him. I didn't even acknowledge him. I was like, oh look, Vince Vaughn, cool, you know. But I wasn't one of those guys. Let me get a picture. Come here, you know, I'll
Yeah,
autograph
I mean,
this.
I was
I
gonna say
don't.
the same thing. I'm not really the type that if I see something, I'll say like, hey, you come out on this or whatever. But I don't go running like, let me take a picture. It's not my mentality. Like I don't. It's not my personality. I'm not normally like that.
You
I
know.
think if it was Taylor Swift though, oh man, I think I would fanboy over her. Like, oh, can I please take a picture? Can I get an autograph? Like, even though I don't listen to her music, but I'm a fan of hers, of her.
Yeah. Her blonde hair, is that what you're a fan of?
Oh, I'm not a big fan
Uh,
of her long hair. I like her more
well,
with her,
I'm a fan of the fact that she's 5'11" and
yeah, of her everything else. No, but yeah, also as a person, when I see her on interviews and stuff, I really dig her style, the way she acts, the way she answers questions, the way she is.
She just
I'm
seems
not
cool, like down to earth.
I'm not really into entertainers as much as I am artists or writers,
Hmm.
because when an artist or a writer dies, you're never gonna get I mean, it's like Sergio Aragonis that does Gru. I
Hmm.
freaking love Sergio Aragonis. And when Sergio Aragonis dies, there's not going to be anybody that can come in and replace him. That Gru can continue as a character after he dies. I mean,
Right.
the character dies with him, you know, and I'll
Right.
never get that again. You know, Dean Koontz, you know, I love as a writer. When Dean Koontz dies, I'm not ever going to get the same story that I love Dean Koontz for. I'm not ever going to get that story again.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, whereas with like entertainers, you know, there might be another Prince come out tomorrow, or
Oh, I don't think there's not enough friends
there
coming out
might be
tomorrow.
another Vince
Like,
Vaughn
I
come
get
out
what you're saying.
tomorrow, or you know, an entertainer to me is kind of exchangeable, whereas somebody that does something that like art, uh, you know,
It all
that an
depends on
expression
what.
of the way they do things.
Hmm.
I don't think you can replace that.
I think it all depends on what era you grew up in. Is who's gonna be your favorites, because it's what you were exposed to who was in their prime when you were growing up. You know what I mean?
Well, I
Like,
mean, if Frank Miller died tomorrow,
yeah. Oh, he
I'm
looks
here
like.
to tell you, dude. If Frank Miller died tomorrow, I would do a video talking about the influence that Frank Miller had on my freaking life.
Yeah, he looks like he's close. He wasn't looking too good last time I saw a
That
picture.
son of a bitch is sick, dude. I don't know what's
Heard
wrong
it
with him.
here first. Frank Miller's dying, according to Jay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they said he's real sick right
yeah.
now. He's
Hashtag
real
Jay
sick, and
says Frank Miller is
he
dead.
looks tore up.
Hashtag rest
Look
in
up
peace,
next to
Frank Miller.
Stan Lee, and Stan Lee looked younger than him. He looked like, and he's way younger.
Yeah, yeah. Frank Miller is like what, like probably 50,
He's probably
and
like in his 60s, and Stanley's like 100, and
yeah,
Stan Lee
Stan
looked
Lee's
way
like
older and
1,000 years
worse.
old, dude.
I mean, Frank Miller looked way older and worse. Yeah, when I saw him, I'll take a picture next to each other. I was like, wow. I go, he's doing bad, and then after, I think I wrote like he's doing bad or he doesn't look so good, and then somebody wrote me back, oh, he's real sick right now, and this and
Yeah, he's
that.
got pancreatic. He had like pancreatic cancer or something, right? Or he has
I have
pancreatic
no
cancer.
clue.
I don't know what he's sick from, but yeah,
I'm just happy that he can go out and do conventions again. Like, he's going to be at the convention that I'm going to be in Dallas next month.
yeah, that's another thing when people bash on writers or like they're like, oh, his art sucks now, or oh, his writing and whatever, that he needs somebody else to hold his hand. It's true, it's probably not the greatest, but you gotta realize the guy's not all there right now. He's sick and he's old. Like, he's not gonna be as talented as he was 30 years ago.
Well, I don't ever like anybody bashing on writers or artists, man. You know, if you can do a better job than them, by all means, go out there and do a better job than them.
Yeah,
I
you'll
hate
know
it
if I don't.
I
You're
hate it
right.
whenever I see people that, you know, I mean, I try not to ever in my videos like bash on a creator
Hmm.
because, you know, I don't have their talent. You know, I can't. You know, I can say that Alex Paxiel can't write his way out of a plastic bag, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a comic and I don't. You know, he
Right.
obviously impressed somebody at some point with something. I don't know, man. Maybe he did something in a bathroom. I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm just saying. I mean, I try not to ever bash on creators, man. I mean, those people have got talent that I only wish I could possess. I think a lot of times when people bash on creators, that they're doing it almost like in a sense of I don't know, wanting to knock them down a notch. Like when people dog on Grant Morrison, you know, or you know whoever, it almost seems like they're just trying to knock them down a notch, you know.
To get him off their high horse or something.
Get them off their high horse, you know. I understand that 9 out of 10 people like Grant Morrison, but you know I'm going to talk shit about this Grant Morrison thing, and
If I don't like a book, I'll let you know I didn't like this book. But
Hmm.
you'll know because I'll sell it. I won't keep it. I'll be like, you know what? I didn't like this. That's gone. Like, that's why when you see my book, I won't show you a lot of books that say this one sucks, because they won't be there long. They won't be there after I read them.
that's what I always say, man. It's not going to be on my. I always talk about, man. This book is awesome. This book is amazing, because the books that are on my pull list, uh, you know, basically have been narrowed down by, you know, the fact that the stuff that sucks just isn't there.
Yeah, yeah. If I ain't enjoying
Yeah.
it, it's not gonna be there. It's like I don't know my space. I don't have a lot of space, so space is precious. If it's something I don't need or don't plan on reading again, either sell it, give it away, whatever. I don't need it. That space that where another book could go.
Yeah, you're not gonna spend money on stuff you don't like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sure. That's what
Um,
I think's funny about pull list videos is that like with pull list videos, a lot of times, man, people do these pull list videos and they've got all these comics and they're like, there's not really a lot you can say because if it's on your pull list, obviously it's a book that you like.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's just something that's been weird to me.
Oh, what about you, Mike? Well, you have like a movie star or rapper or artist that you maybe didn't want to be like, but you really admire their work. You're like, I'm a big fan of this that guy. I buy all his stuff.
When I first got into comics, it was J. Scott Campbell. I still like his work, but like that was one of the first artists when I finally got back into comics that I was like, damn, yeah, I'm gonna start picking up some of his stuff.
Why J. Scott Campbell?
I just like the way he drew his like females. I like the way he would like just do his colors. Like Night Rufino, she would do a lot of the colors for him, and like I just like how they do their work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started. I think one of his first stuff was Gen 13, and I started buying it because of when I saw his art on the covers and stuff. It was Jim Lee at first, then it was him. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's badass, and it was J. Scott Campbell. And I liked him back when at that time he was nobody. Nobody. It was all about Jim Lee, McFarlane, and them. Nobody really knew who J. Scott Campbell was. But then he got started there. Then he got into Danger Girl, and he really started blowing up.
Man, I love J. Scott Campbell, man. I think that J. Scott Campbell is crazy to me because of the fact that, like, a lot of people coming out of the 90s, when you had all these big boobed, big hipped characters, a lot of people, like, tried to steer away from that. And J. Scott Campbell was like, that's what I do.
Yeah, I was saying that's exactly what he does.
I like his independence.
He's one of the guys that started that whole thing.
Yeah, I like his independence of, maybe people aren't going to like this, maybe they are, but this is how I draw. And if people want to buy that, then they'll buy it. But I'm going to continue to draw it,
Right.
I really admire that about J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, it would have to be if you watch my videos, people that watch my haul videos, my trade videos, whatever, it's not a big secret. Jim Lee's probably my favorite artist.
Yeah.
I love Jim Lee. Like his shit is what got me into comics. I saw X-Men in the 90s. They became a big thing, like the biggest comic ever. No comics have been as big as X-Men wasn't there, and when they were at their peak, nobody's peaked higher than them. And there was a lot of it was because of Jim Lee. His art was that type of art. Like he not only was drawing X-Men, he changed everybody's costumes. So it was basically his creations. Like when he started Wildcat, they say, "Oh, he's copying the X-Men costumes. Look, they're all the same," because he did the designs for the X-Men. So it makes sense he would do the same designs for Wildcats. Before he got on that book, if you compare it to the X-Men costumes before he got on it to the Wildcat ones, they were completely different until when he came in. And people say, oh, in the 90s, the suits were a lot like space looking and weird, real colorful. And, Jim Lee's a sign of those times. To me, what I say is, he's not a sign of those times. He created those times. Like, because of him, that became a style. If he didn't do that with the X-Men books, everybody's like, well, X-Men's selling like gangbusters. Because look at what he's doing with the costumes, look what he's doing with the characters. Copy him. Do what they tell other artists, do what this guy's doing. Make your costumes how this guy's making his. Make your ladies how he's making his. So it's not that he was copying what was in style at that time. It's that he set that trend. Everybody was copying him, and it became the style because of him. So I've always been a big fan of his, big X-Men fan. That was my introduction into books was X-Men, and I also Spider-Man was big at that time too. So I liked McFarlane, but I really like McFarlane and Spawn more.
Yeah.
Were two of my favorite artists because they were the rock stars of the industry when I got exposed to comics as a kid when I was growing up. They were the two big names. So I think whatever were the big names during your era growing up is gonna be what you migrate to.
Right.
Do you find that you buy books, either one of you, sometimes because of the fact that you like somebody and you continue to buy those books even though you don't really so much care for the book. Like I buy books all the time, man, because I like artists or writers, but it's not the best book that I'm buying. I'm just buying it blindly because of the fact that I like that creator.
Yeah, I could be like that a little bit. Like maybe I'm not liking a certain series, but I'm like, you know what? This is this artist or this writer. I'm gonna give them a little bit more, issues. See, maybe they'll pull me to, liking the book. But there's times where it's like, screw it, I'm out.
I mean, it's like you're talking about J. Scott Campbell. I buy Danger Girl to this freaking day, and he's not even drawing the book anymore. I buy it like strictly out of some kind of like allegiance to J. Scott Campbell,
Right.
Like I read yeah, I still buy all the X-Men books, but of course Jim Lee stopped a long time ago doing X-Men, but it's not because of that. It's because I got introduced to him because of Jim Lee and all that. But I like the characters, so even if there's someone else writing them, and even if sometimes the story's not as good, I wanna know what's going on with that character.
Oh yeah, I totally understand that.
What up? You know what? What about as far as like how I said movie stars or music artists? Was there any that was your favorite growing up? That I have other albums, I buy them the day they get released. Like
Nope.
no, you have anybody like that, Tom?
Man, Poison.
Poison?
Yeah,
Is that a rock group?
You know the band Poison?
Yeah.
No.
I went and saw Poison 42 times in 1 year.
Man, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of freaking travel.
Yeah, to me.
I spent my entire summer. One summer, went through the school year, went and saw him like 4 or 5 times during the school year, and then spent the whole next summer following Poison. I freaking
You were a groupie, Tom?
Dude, I was a groupie. And
Nah.
was in Huntsville, Alabama one time. Ricky Rocket was a skateboarder, and I was a skateboarder. And I was at a skate park in Huntsville, Alabama, in between shows, and they stopped at the skate park so that they could skate in between shows. And got to meet them. And dude, you want to talk about fanboying on something? Oh my gosh, I've never fanboyed so hard on anything in all my life, dude.
Yeah, me I was a big Tupac fan growing up, from like 11 years old to like 19 when he died.
Yeah.
And I would buy all his albums. I had every single song, all his bootleg stuff that didn't get released, that they, stuff they do in the studios and never gets released. I had everything. Like, I was big into his music. I think NWA was a little bit before my time. I listened to NWA, but I listened to them after. Like, I wasn't bumping their stuff as it came out. I was listening to it as it was being released. NWA was more like stuff music I listened to after it's already been out 5 years. Because I was too young at that time. I didn't even know about music or whatever.
I think Tupac was on another level though, from like NWA or something like that.
Yeah, he was like.
I listened to NWA and I loved freaking Eazy-E and everything about that. But Tupac, man, his lyrics were like, he was like a rap Bob Marley. Like,
yeah, all the shit he said was like, he's just rapping. Sometimes he raps about some crazy stuff, but a lot of the stuff he says was regular stuff that would happen, like that you're like, yeah, I seen that happen, or like how he says in some song.
Yeah, you can relate to it.
Yeah,
says,
I mean, it was totally freaking relatable, man. I can't relate to like, NWA or somebody like that that's going out talking about, cruising down the street in their 6'4", man, freaking popping caps and shit. But man, the shit that Pac was talking about, I can relate to that,
And I like in an interview once he said, they go, you contradict yourself a lot. You say this, then the next day you say something that contradicts that, and it's totally the opposite of the opinion you had the day before. And he goes, yeah, well, I'm a regular motherfucker. Like, yesterday I was feeling that way, today I feel different. Like, and I'm like, that's true. Like, because we all do that. One day you could have one opinion or something. Down the road, you know, a year later, whatever, you could say something totally different about that same thing. Like you could see it totally different depending on
I
the
mean,
weather.
off subject, man. Donald Trump running for president.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the things, man, that I like about him is that, you know, like normally, man, when you've got like a political candidate that's running for office, like they've got like an agenda, like they've got like a set speech pattern of what they're going to say all the way throughout. And that son of a bitch, dude, you don't ever know what he's going to say.
Yeah, that's one thing I
He might
really
say
like
something
about
today
Trump.
and tomorrow turn around and be like, say the exact opposite thing, man, because yesterday he felt this way and today he feels this way.
Yeah, one thing
Yeah.
I really like about him is I don't agree with almost none of the shit he says, but one thing I really like, I don't have to agree with it to like what he how can I say well, let me put it like this. When he says something, you know that's how he feels. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and
straight
other
up, that's straight up how he
politicians
feels, man.
always flip flop. They're always like they always give you this politically correct answer because they want you to vote for them, so they want to please everybody. They want to give an answer that everybody will like. He gives you an answer that what he thinks you don't gotta like it. This is what I think, and that's
No,
that.
no, you ain't gotta
I
like
like
it.
that.
And then if you question him and you say, "Hey, man, what are you talking about? That you know, gays need to be like put in front of a firing squad?" And he's like, "Well, that's what I said, right?" I
Yeah.
mean, dude
Don't
does
get it
not
twisted
back
though.
down
Donald Trump is an
from
idiot,
anything
but he
that he
says
said.
however he feels, whatever pops in his head, that's what he's gonna say. People are not gonna control him.
No, and he's not gonna back down from what he says because of pressure from something else, man.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about when people say a PC answer, political correct answer about anything, any topic at all. I hate those answers because to me, that's like you're not when you give those answers, you're not giving your opinion. You're just saying what you think people want to hear. You're not
Yeah.
saying what you think, and we're asking you what do you think, not what do you think we want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that political correctness has been the downfall of basically America in general.
Like in
You know,
sports, every time when they play a team.
I can't conquer my problem with, you know, blacks or Hispanics
Hmm.
if I politically correctly say what it is that I'm saying to you.
Yeah, it's like if I
You know,
go somewhere.
if I want to conquer a problem, you know, if I think you're lazy or, you know, whatever, then I just need to say that and,
Yeah,
you know, be out there and, you know, throw, you know, I don't know, man. I think that's the downfall of
yeah,
American
it's like if I
society.
go somewhere and I act a certain way around someone, and then they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, that guy's cool, whatever." It's like, oh, do they really like you, or is it because you were acting this way that that's not you? Like, so it's not you they like, it's this other person you're pretending to be. You know what I mean?
I just don't think you can ever work out problems between people if you don't actually talk about the problems.
Right.
If you just set up barriers to make it so that you don't have to talk about problems, then that seems silly to me that those problems aren't ever going to get worked out. And not only are they not going to get worked out, but then those people are going to sit back and they're going to stew on those problems. You know, exactly like you say that you have like you know, this hatred among the black community for being repressed and this, that, and the other, and this whole Black Lives Matter. You know, I don't think that that would be as big an issue if we would have talked these issues out 20 years ago, opposed to having political correctness and African Americans and, you know, this whole separation society that we had.
Yeah. You know
You
what?
know,
We can get another. We could do another show about comics that cover this type of stuff or other media that might cover this. We could say that for another topic because I'm looking at the time. We already hit an hour and we got
right.
way off topic of from what we were originally talking about. So
Sorry.
so all right. So let's get to what book do you guys want to review next week so everybody can know what we plan on chatting about. We want to
I
stick.
don't know.
You guys want to
You
stick
guys,
to the
you
next one,
guys,
the Killing Joke?
you guys pick something, man. I pick LumberJane's, dude.
Let's go with the Killing Joke. That's what we were talking about last week.
That's fine. Killing jokes.
That's cool. I got it.
All right, we'll do Killing Joke next week. And right now we'll log off. If you want to, we'll keep talking about this, and we could set up a special a show where we talk about these topics and books or whatever. We'll try to give it a theme where like we'll talk about that right now after what kind of other shows we could do in the future. All right, guys. If you guys are watching, you have any ideas of what topics you would like us to cover? Post your comments on the bottom. If you have any ideas of like, talk about comics that cover a certain or storylines that cover a certain agenda, being politics or whatever, you know. Um, Let us know, and if you have a recommendation of a book that covers that real well that you might want us to review, also post it on the bottom. Let us know, and if we read it, we'll do a video about it and we'll give our opinions. All right, guys. I think this one ran a little bit past the hour, but you know, well, we're just gotta we just steered off to something else right there. But anyway. Well, anyway, yeah, guys, you know, give recommendations at the bottom. Any ideas you guys have? You guys want to watch our favorite Batman book, our favorite Superman, or, you know, whatever ideas you have that you would like to see a show on. Favorite sidekicks or hero sidekick relationships. Post ideas at the bottom because we want to get some ideas out there. And we'll definitely, whatever idea we all three of us agree we like, we'll do a video on it. Also, if you want to join the conversation, we're doing the Killing Joke next week, so if you have any interest in joining that chat, message me on Twitter or any one of us on Twitter. Our links are down below. Let us know if you're interested, and yeah, that's about it. That's all I got to say. You guys got to say anything else, or?
Lazarus hardcover volume 2 comes out tomorrow. Get it.
Utah?
Yeah. No, man, that's about all I got to say, man. Lazarus, man. Read Lazarus.
All right, we'll check you out next week then, guys. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Peace.